The Knokke Hospital is the result of an ambitious architecture competition organized in 2007 by the Gezondheidszorg Oostkust, following the decision to replace two existing hospitals, the one of Knokke and Blankenberge, by one new hospital. A 15-hectare site in front of Knokke was made available for this project. 10 years later, Easter 2018, the hospital was completed. To introduce the project, we want to show a small movie. The specifications drawn up in 2006, the client expressed his view on the following guiding principles: ambition, innovation, and identity. A very ambitious call for from an architectural, medical, technical, and socio-cultural point of view. The design had to be innovative and sustainable, of the highest quality never before achieved in a care facility. And in addition, able to display a specific identity, an innovative uniqueness and architecture linked to the place. To achieve this result, we had to fulfill certain essential conditions: implement high-quality architecture combined with optimal hospital functionality, create the best possible work and stay environment, where fresh air and natural light is key aspect in each space, and the focus was placed on the concept of a healing environment. Our solution to this competition was gather all the skills needed for this challenge into a qualified team, develop an integrated approach to the project, and make a concept which may not be the project's endpoint, but a sound base which will be able to be subsequently modeled through an intense and active participation process with the different users. Consequently, a multidisciplinary team was set up, associating the specialist architectural firms AAPROG, BOECKX, and B2AI, with the support of engineers, interior and landscape architects. We considered the project's environment as this is of prime importance to understand the architectural solutions which were provided. The project is located in Belgium, in the coastal area of the North Sea, in the landscape of the flat polders. The site was chosen on a main access road to be well connected with the neighborhood. The genius loci was our source of inspiration. Elements such as the sea, sand, windy climate, humidity, the storms which rapidly blow and disappear, the changing colors of the coastal sky, are all elements which strongly influenced our architectural proposal. The sandy soil, creeks, salt marshes, canals, dikes, grassy plantations have inspired our landscaping solutions. How to enhance the polder's identity into the heart of the project. There are also major socio-cultural resources present in the seaside resort, of which we were inevitably aware and which led to the proposed architecture. The local, national, international renowned artist René Magritte, a surrealist painter, led us to the idea. An artscape. An artistic landscape, vivid and integrated into the rich landscape. Like a cloud floating on this typical landscape, polder landscape. A neutral element with a minimum surface impact. Our proposition for the architecture competition for this hospital surprised the client, and as soon as we expressed our vision, this is not a hospital. The plan is a result of an in-depth study on movements, interaction between the departments, and optimization of the orientation, giving maximum preference for the most beautiful views over the polders to the rooms, and the support facilities for medical technical equipment and administration are located on the backside, on the other side overlooking the parking. Separate flows were created for visitors and internal circulation. Another feature of the concept is the protective architecture against climatological elements such as wind, rain, and sun, which specifically affect displays. Against the sun, a double skin with screen printing has been installed as primary sun protection, and it also contributes to save on heating. The patios provide plentiful filtered sunlight, and the overhangs of the superstructure provide a sheltered environment. The different levels of the land provide wind protection. The objective resulting from this point of view and the healing environment principles was to create a warm and human environment, close to nature, to enable patients to recover more quickly. All the elements contributing to this, as shown from numerous scientific studies, were extremely well integrated into our approach and our design.
For the landscaping layout and integration of buildings on this natural site, a low ecological footprint was also vital. Respect for the typical fauna and flora, a zero-changing ground balance, and maximum recovery or buffering of water have been carried out. As soon as a patient, a visitor or employee approaches or goes into the building, they will be overwhelmed by green and very open sites. The implementation has been a maximum support for the patient's comfort, placing the accent on natural light and space. The raised structure brings in a structural and functional transparency. The design of the basket columns is very transparent, makes big openings on the landscape, and brings a lightness to it all. They are a source for the filtered and moving light into the building. The lifted structure creates a protected area from bad weather, rain, and wind. This ensures a pleasant feeling far from the traditional hospital atmosphere. A very important element is the walkway joining both parts of the public area, on the ground floor and those in the basement. This architectural element connects the reception, registration counters, cafeteria, and so on, with the departments for revalidation, medical, imaging, pharmacy, blood tests, and the emergency department. Large patios in both the center of the buildings and the care wings bring light into the entire building. In the basement, an English courtyard was implemented. Cheerfulness is provided by sets of colored films on the windows showing one of the 5 basic colors of the rainbow. These colors have also been picked up in the furnishings, decorations, flooring, artworks, and facade. Even in the depths of the building, in highly technical rooms, as the therapeutic pool, for example, we find all of these elements. Influx of natural light brings in color and cheerfulness to this place. In the consultancy waiting rooms, we have art projects created by the artist Jos Janssens, bringing in many healing elements. Integration of art, colors, and furnishing has been carried out after intense interaction between the artists and our interior designers. Once inside the building, patients, visitors, and employees are overwhelmed by numerous impressions and ambiances. The bistro is warm and welcoming, following a very varied furnishing layout, indirect natural light, views over the garden, integration of colored elements, warm woods on the floors, walls, and furnishings. The acoustics were given a detailed study for maximum sound comfort. The friendly nature of the care rooms has been created by wide use of warm wood in the outside windows, decorative panels, floors in imitation oak PVC, as well as bringing in colors by integrated art by the artist photographer Marie-Jo Lafontaine on the sliding doors. In the entrance hall, the main columns supporting the building have been decorated by another artist, Benoit van Innis. The quiet room, convertible to a chapel, reflects all of the healing and protective elements perfectly. The auditorium on the ground floor, capable of 150 people, is completely equipped for all conferences. And then the timeline, we had about 10 years between the master plan and the hospital being in use. And some figures to conclude. There's a foreseen capacity of 374 beds, a surface of 55,000 square meters, 750 parking lots, and the construction costs of about 125 million euro, excluding medical equipment, fees and taxes. So I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Incredible. Exactly on time. Frederick, do you want to
Yes.
ask a question? Please.
I think it's a very impressive building, but it puts me off a bit because its beauty and the way you've explained how you arrive at it, mentioning Magritte and mentioning art pieces, etc., indicates that the choice of form has preceded the, I don't mean to say that that has happened, but you haven't explained it, the actual planning of a hospital. Now, I've had the experience of doing large hospitals, and they're a damn difficult job. And it actually, organizing the way the hospital works should have some form of imprint on the form, on the resulting form. You haven't mentioned that relationship. And most of your description has been about shapes, and some of the photographs, the twisted columns and other details. So I wonder if you are conscious that it's been, or you haven't been able to explain in the short time, brief time you've had, how far or how important the actual operation of the hospital has been.
Yeah. And what kind of hospital it is? Type of hospital?
It's a general hospital, so there's everything in it. For starts, we had a team with, as well as architecturals that do the design and architectures that are specialized in building hospitals. So we teamed up just for that. So we had the knowledge of building hospitals inside our team. And I don't know if the technicals can put some slides next to it, because there we can see the ground floors. We didn't go on it because we only have 10 minutes, and we have the accent on the feeling that we had. The next one, please. So this is the base floor, and this is the floors that from the first floor until the third floor, and each wing is a triangle, and there's one ward. So the A, B, C wings are wards and are really designed as a ward, and the form has followed also the function. So the triangle with the patio in the middle is one ward with all the functions and short tracks for all the things that go on in, and the wing on beneath is a technical. So it's bigger. It's larger. Overspanning. Yeah. Larger matrix. So
it's a medical technical department with the operation rooms and these things are on the backside.
So the knowledge of building a hospital is really in it, but the design doesn't show it. And I think it's a good combination of the two.
And does it also mean that it can, I mean, most hospitals I know grow a lot over time? What does it mean for your this hospital?
That's a little bit of a problem, because there's the design of it all doesn't. You cannot add a wing. It's not so simple to add a wing. But we had some spare place. So two of the wings on one level are still free. So there can be other functions in it, and this area is let's say very open. So it's a skeletal structure. It's not with walls, and there's nothing in it. And there are some functions in the hospital that can be carried out. So new medical implementation, new functions can be integrated in the hospital, and other functions can go out on the campus, because it's a large campus and there can be expansions on the outside.
It's part of a campus. Yeah.
Sorry?
It's part of a, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Side plan, yes, that helps.
So there's still some
Yeah,
room.
that's
We already had some functions that are outside the hospital. So like the kitchen is outside the hospital. And it was during the design process that we did it, because they changed their ideas.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, a hospital, in some senses, encapsulates the full range of human experience, from joy to absolute dread. And there's a way in which you've explained the project with the emphasis on the landscape, the colours, the joy, that I think detracts from actually what the hospital is about.
Yeah.
Like, the presentation had a sense of compromise, which I don't think is actually what the project is essentially about. So I agree slightly with Frederick. There was something slightly confusing about the way it was presented to us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you repeat what is exactly?
So you talk about a whole range of things that have to
Yes.
be brought into this, everything from environment to planning to program. But the start of the presentation was all about the landscape, about the form, about the art.
Yes.
So it sounded to me slightly like you oversold one part of the project and undersold something else. That's how it came across.
Well, actually, the main idea is also followed out of discussions with very technical. The main organization scheme of a hospital we followed, but we only added. What we did is we opened up the views to the landscape. We opened up them to have natural light, and we lifted the building to have the entrance in contact with the landscape. And the more technical things are in the basement and on the back. So I think it's a very clear scheme, but which also takes advantage of the strong points of the site, the environment, to create an environment that doesn't has the feeling anymore of a hospital as a factory, as a production place. No, nowadays you have to put the patient central. You have to put the healing environment in front, and all of these things we put in front without losing the functional, very technical aspects of what is a hospital.
Complex, yeah.
But I think the question was also that are very different emotions, and you seem to sort of have a very homogeneous white, which is a bit paradoxical with I'm not a hospital, maybe, but that's maybe my personal impression.
I think a hospital is not only the beds and the treatment. It's many things that people go to the hospitals is for consultations, just to have some information. And the hospital is more than that. Some, let's say, some daycare, and it's not really need for a hospital, but they do it all in the same building because the technical needs there are. So the ambiance that we want to create in the, let's say, the not technical and the just simple are not the ambiance of a hospital. So that's what we wanted to do. We want to make people feel that they're not in a hospital. They should be at ease and comfortable. And there is a technical part of it, but that's we try to separate it a little bit and to make it that visitors and patients don't see that. They only see the good things.
Okay. Last remark. Oh, sorry. Last question. Well, actually, we are out of time. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we can take one more question. Frederick, please.
No, I think the plan has a lovely shape. It really made me think at the start it was like a brush. And that leads me to ask you, is there any provision for this building to be able to expand? I mean, the shape is so round that what would happen if you need more rooms or if medicine changes?
Yeah. But first of all, you have to understand this is a regional hospital. This is not in the region. You have the main hospitals. They are all connected. In Bruges is the main hospital, and they are connected with these local hubs. This is not the main hospital. So they already, the centralized point, there is a lot of movement in these things. There's the evolution of, yeah.
And I think we forget something. And I don't know if it's everywhere, but I think so. The amounts of beds, they don't increase. They shrinken. So it's not a problem of will there be needs of more beds. The problem of what will we do if there are less need of beds, and that's why we have a flexible structure. So that's the main idea of it.
Thank you very much.